Hey, what's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the ways that I used to train in jail and prison at the times where I didn't have any weights available to me. So the main exercise that I would always focus on is push-ups. The reason being is because not only does push-ups build and develop your entire upper body in some way, but also it's something that can be done effectively anywhere. Okay, so some of the other examples of things I did, like pull-ups, dips, there are certain criteria that have to be met for you to do it. You can't just do them anywhere. So the push-up is the standard, number one exercise that I would do in those times. And as an example of what I do, when I first began training, I would do a variety of different hand positions for the push-ups. So I would start with my first set with shoulder width apart and just do push-ups until failure, or if I want to regiment it by reps, I would do that. As an example, I would do 25 or 50 like that, regular grip. Then the next set, I would do the same amount in very wide as I can go, real slow, wide, and get a good stretch in the chest. The third set would be what I call box position. So I put my hands in front of me like this, and I do the push-ups like this, okay? That hits the inner chest, some upper chest as well. The last and fourth variation of hand position are diamond push-ups. I do diamonds, and I focus on that, do my last set like that, and those four variations, those four sets are one cycle. So I do that, and then I do that a couple times. I'd repeat it, okay? And then you build up. With body weight exercises, because you're not adjusting the actual weight, you do have to adjust the intensity, shorten the amount of rest time, or just overall volume in order to keep progressing. But in the beginning, go easy on yourself. You don't need to kill yourself. Do what is within your ability without hurting yourself, okay? So that's what I would do for chest. I would also do dips. A lot of these places where, we had like an open area, there were bars like on the tier, and where those bars met in a 90 degree, I would go up there and I'd be able to do dips up there. So I do dips like that if I could. Pull-ups is another one that I think is one of the best exercises. Not always able to be done though, because obviously you need something to hang on. So I remember in one place there was nothing we could use, and we found a water pipe that traveled through a part of the cell block on the top tier, and it was a real thick pipe. So we just do the pull-ups on that pipe as an example of a way to solve the problem and work around it. In other places I was in cells where there was a light fixture, and that light fixture had like a little ledge on the top, like maybe a 3 or 4 inch ledge. And I would get a pair of dishwashing gloves from the kitchen. I'd have somebody get it for me, and I'd use those and just put them on the top so it wouldn't rip my hands and I wouldn't slip, and I'd just do my pull-ups there. Pull-ups and dips, similar to push-ups, just set your amount of reps that you want to hit, or do every one to failure. These days I like doing more failure, but the best advice I would give you is do both. Some workouts, let them be regimented, where you have a certain amount you're going to reach in reps, and others to failure on every movement. For the most part, though, going to failure, in my opinion, is a way better method if you're going to choose one or the other. With dips, I was able to eventually get up to doing like 200 in one set straight. I had like the highest dip count out of everybody in this one county in the unit I was in. So you get a lot better at these calisthenic movements as you continue. I was able to get almost 50 pull-ups at one time. I was able to do 1,000 to 1,500 push-ups in one day. So my body adapted, as will yours. For arms, okay, arms, generally, I didn't do specific workouts targeting them just because, again, I didn't have weights. So what I would do is I would focus on the movements that I've already explained to you. The push-ups for a tricep, that's why I do those movements. I adjust my hand position to hit the triceps, okay? In the pull-ups, you can, if you're able to, use a reverse grip like this, a supinated grip, or you can just focus on your body position. So if I want to hit the arms more doing a pull-up, right, rather than lean my body backward and sticking my chest out, which I normally would do, instead I just keep my body as vertical as possible and just move real slow, up and down. I can do arms like that. Okay. Also, you can do biceps by hanging on something. If there's like a bar or something, you can lean your body back, and then you can pull yourself up like that, doing body weight. And then, of course, if you have that, you can do the opposite for triceps. You can find something to lean off of and just, push your body weight and adjust your angle, your body angle accordingly as required for intensity and difficulty. With the push-ups also, just going back to that, there was a time where I did weighted push-ups. So I had a workout partner with me there, and I would get into the push-up position and have somebody lay on my back. So we're back to back, and then I would do it like that. This guy was like 250 pounds. That was a lot of resistance for me, and that was another way I could add to the intensity. Shoulders, I didn't really focus on. There were some times where I did, like the only thing I could really do to replace a shoulder press is like an inverted pull-up, where I would lean against the wall upside down and pull up in a handstand position and then do as many as I could like that. For me, I never really focused much on shoulders. They just grew by themselves, and I didn't really feel the need for it. I don't like when shoulders look huge, and I never work traps for the same reason, just my own personal preference. I don't like that look of having those big traps and real thick neck. Forearms also. I just train forearms only when I do regular workouts, so I don't train my forearms at all. I don't single them out in that way. But what I did do for shoulders sometimes was, and I still do sometimes, I mimic a side lateral press. So people do the side laterals and they do it with weight. I would do it without weight, and I would just go real slow. I can't do it here. You guys can't see me, but I do it like this, real slow. And I would rep out and do 100 with no weights at all. And that 100 would be, or to failure, would be really good and effective for me. So there's a huge misconception that a lot of people have about needing to have weight, where that's a great example. If you try that right now, just try to lift your arms from your sides in a controlled manner 100 times, and you'll see by the end of that, your shoulders are on fire, and they're so full of blood, and I believe that you can build muscle like that, okay? Another way to test that for yourself is just squeeze your biceps, or any other body part, but biceps are the easiest to test it with. Just squeeze them many times. Here, squeeze them as many times as you can. Go for like 20. Squeeze, squeeze. And when you squeeze like this, I'm already shaking. My arms are shaking just by squeezing, because I'm squeezing as hard as I could. And you're going to get a pump from that. That's actually an effective workout if you had nothing else you could replace it with. So don't fall into that trap of thinking that you need heavy weights. Okay? There's a place for everything, but you don't need them. So don't make excuses based on not having a gym membership or any equipment. Just work with what you have now. So the last thing was legs, how I trained legs. A lot of guys didn't do legs at all, and I never understood that. For me, you gotta have strong legs. Those guys with the big upper bodies and skinny ass legs, they get dropped. They get hit once and boom, their fucking legs buckle and down they go. And they look ridiculous also, especially if you see them walking in shorts, big as hell in the upper body and no calves at all, no legs at all. So what I would do with legs was at least, 2 to 3 times a week, I would just do body weight squats. And I would do them generally to failure. But to give you some reference, if I had a number, I'd do sets of at least 30 to 50 reps. Controlled, again, all the way up, all the way down. And I would do 3 or 4 sets per workout day for legs. That would be for my entire upper leg. And for my calves, I would do body weight calf raises. If you can, put yourself on something where your heels can lower what you're standing on, that's even better to get a fuller stretch. If not, just do them on the ground. And this is another one of those where my calves grew a lot. And people generally think you have to put a lot of weight on your back and do these movements in order for this to happen. It's not true. I never, ever, ever put weight for calves. Ever. And for you to test this for yourself, I would suggest just do 100 reps for example, 100 reps, up, down, up, down, up, down, of calf raises, standing calf raises, and see how you feel at the end of that. Repeat that 100 reps 3 or 4 times, and you're done. That's all the calf training you need for that session. You could do leg training as little as twice a week to be effective, in my opinion, using these body weight type techniques. But give it a shot, guys. Try these type of workouts, especially if your excuse for not training is that you don't have equipment or you don't have that gym membership. Please, guys, I'm sharing this with you guys so you understand that whatever bullshit excuse you're making, it's not a real reason for you not to be training. It's just bullshit. All right? So I also I'm trying to think anything else. For stomach, I would do leg raises, lying leg raises and hanging leg raises if I could, and that's still my main abdominal exercise. I don't really do crunches, I don't do sit-ups. I did that stuff when I was young, but I don't feel the need for it. And that's basically it, guys. I never did cardio. Now I don't do cardio. Sometimes I dabble, I experiment, but unless I really need to tighten up, I can just, balance my diet and my workout schedule and frequency to the point where I can stay in the kind of shape I want. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got something good out of it. A lot of you have asked me about this, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.